I'm Alexander Nolte. I used to deal with the topic of innovations for Volkswagen. And after 7 years with them, I founded my own innovation agency, which I was running for the past 8 years. We supported organizations to understand how tomorrow's world in terms of technology, geopolitical and societal change looks like and translated these learnings into innovative solutions. I also investigate the topic of innovations as a business coach and as a teacher of the School of Design Thinking and the Innovation Lab from the Do School in Hamburg and New York.
So Alex, as we all know, innovation is a big buzzword. What would you say innovation actually means?
Well, it's certainly not a buzzword, but what is clear is that there's many different definitions of what it is. Yeah, it's certainly everybody agrees that whatever comes out of it needs to be new and meaningful. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. It could be creativity plus successful implementation. It could be a mindset, and with that mindset, innovation comes automatically. But it could also be, my favorite definition of innovation is from Bettina von Stamm. She says that innovation is the path of embracing change to create value. Mm-hmm. And I like that definition very much because it says that with the path, it says that innovation is not only happening once, but that you have to continuously innovate. Mm-hmm. And embracing in that context means that you proactively have to push it. Innovation is not happening automatically. And she leaves it open with creating value. Value is not limited to market success and monetary success, but also could also be the generation of knowledge and something that that the whole society benefits from.
Mm-hmm. And who would you say is the innovator? Like, is it always this one glorious person that, like, sometime in the night comes up with like this great idea?
Almost all the innovations are a recombination of existing bits and pieces of knowledge. And that's where it is important to have a team with multiple expertises and skills and backgrounds. And that is definitely helping the whole innovation process. It doesn't necessarily make working together easier, because you, especially when you have this cross-cultural component, but it certainly helps to look at a problem from different angles and from different viewpoints.
Mm-hmm. So innovation is actually a lot about also teamwork and managing successfully a diverse team of people so that they can go through a certain process.
Yeah, you have to, whenever you work with that team, it's first of all, you have to bring as an individual, you have to bring certain aspects to the table, to that innovation team. These are like curiosity, you have to have an eagerness to experiment, empathy, optimism. Integrated thinking helps, so that you bring reason, imagination and intuition into the decision-making process, and also that you perform as a team player. But when these people come together, it's really important that they trust each other and that you have this mutual respect. If you don't have that, you don't even have to start innovating together, because it's only then when you feel at ease that you crank out the craziest idea that you have in your mind. If you don't have that, or if you don't have that environment and atmosphere where you dare to do that, then you will never get to the point where you have ideas that's going to be groundbreaking solutions in the market later on.
Mm-hmm. So trust is actually important to come up with like crazy suggestions that might end up in a great product or something.
Isn't that always important?
Great. So what would you think in terms of like looking at innovation as a process? Like, could you tell us a bit, like, is there a couple of like typical stages that an innovation goes through, or is it totally random how it happens?
Well, on the one hand says there are certainly these moments where people say they wake up or they stand under the shower and they have this moment. But when you look at it precisely, there are certain steps that normally an innovation process is going through. First, you collect all the information that deal with your problem. Then you have like something like an incubation phase where you subconsciously process the idea, and often in a creative break away from the actual task. And that's once that is done, then you come to that point, this illumination phase, where you have this aha moment, this eureka effect, where the actually creative idea is born. Well, then you verify it, and then certainly to finish the whole the process is very important to also realize your idea, because the idea is worth nothing if you don't do something with it. And that again requires a completely different skill set, like patience, persistence, and courage to build the business case, believe in the business case, convince investors, and bring the hardware, software components, whatever it is that you're innovating or that you're creating, and bring that into the marketplace, into reality.
In terms of recommendations that you could give to people, what would you tell the participants in this course if you wanted to help them basically to be innovative?
Well, I think it's very important that at some point you leave your desk and your screen behind, so that it's important to do some number crunching at the beginning, understand the problem and some figures that are related to the problem, but then it's very important to understand the local context, go out in the field, talk to people, observe, see unmet consumer needs, and actually live with them, be with them, test your ideas with them, and interact with them in any field, even bring them into the idea generating process.
What role would you say creativity techniques play? Because usually people think of innovation as, I just apply a couple of creativity techniques and that's it.
Well, there's creativity methods, as I would say, it's just a structured approach to stimulate idea generation. And when you look at it from that point, then I think they are absolutely, you can use it throughout the whole process. And especially between this incubation and this illumination phase, it makes sense to apply the one or the other creativity tool. Yeah, and then you look at the problem from different angles, you try to play with analogies, and you take bits and pieces of knowledge and you reconfigure them. So it certainly helps to open up your mind and to come to creative solutions.
Mm-hmm. So maybe you're like generating a lot of ideas to then pick from, basically, and to then say this is what goes into the final solution at the end.
Exactly, and I mean these creativity techniques, they often come along in all innovation methods or processes. These creativity tools often come with guardrails or rules for communication. Yeah, you often hear go for quantity, so that you don't stop with only, or you don't try to have a filter at the very beginning of the idea generating process. Or you say fail as fast and often as possible, so that you learn from your failures and that you don't invest time, money, and energy until the end and then figure out that the product doesn't work. So deferred judgment is another one. And we talked about the trust and the mutual respect that are important, and that is certainly easier said than done, because in all of the innovation or collaboration workshops, you even without saying something, you often non-verbally judge upon the idea somebody else said. So there are certainly these rules that come with the creativity tools, and that are important to set a frame in which this idea generating process is happening.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks a lot.
Honey is a very traditional product, and it's really difficult to innovate about it. But we need to do it because in Moldova the consumption is very low, and we need to bring innovation to our customers in order to change their perception and their appreciation for the honey. From the beginning I was sure we need a really strong brand for the honey. People don't have an association. When thinking about honey in Moldova, it doesn't come a brand in your mind or a beekeeper. So we wanted to make DOtell to be the brand first, or the name first appear in your mind when you think about honey, about bees, about pollination. DOtell means sweet homeland, and it is a name connected to our values. It's natural, it's sweet, and it's local. We created a new product, a gift pack made of honey and herbal tea. The pack is having a card attached so people can write a message on it and give it as a present. On the back we have a message that show our values and somehow motivates people to enjoy a cup of tea with honey. Another product that we have created is the decorative bee wax candles. In Moldova, churches uses bee wax candles, but just sticks, not decorative ones. And people prefer more mass-produced candles. So what we did is adding decoration to a simple bee wax or classic bee wax candle. And we found out that people really like it, and it's selling good. These kind of candles might not be an innovation somewhere else. For sure, they exist in the world, but for Moldova, it's a new product. For me, innovation is adding value to my country's context.